episode of Porch Ramblings is all about Dancing 101. And in case you're wondering, hi, I'm Rivka Valley. I'm the host and owner of this YouTube channel. When we're talking about how to get involved in traditional New England social dances or contra dances, we have to first take into consideration what you, as the viewer, might be wanting to know about these. So essentially, to briefly break it down, I did do a video on this in my last Porch Ramblings video about the whys and wherefores and whatever else. But for this episode, we're mainly going to focus on how to get involved, but I'll do a brief overview. Essentially, this is contra dancing. It is a form of traditional New England social dance that has been done in communities since the 1600s. And it is a terrific way to get out and have fun, exercise, and enjoy a community that is very welcoming. The other thing is these dances are integral to New England as a whole, including the culture and history of the surrounding landscape. So I just think it's important to take these things into consideration. Plus, it makes a great outing for families or friends or couples even. Makes a wonderful outing. All right, so you might ask me, where can I go to experience this? Great question. Thankfully, I have just the answer for you. Because you see, there's a lot of halls in New Hampshire, at least in my state, and there's also dances in Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont and Connecticut, all over the country. No matter where you're from in the country, you can go find a contra dance more than likely. Check your local Facebook, your local advertisements, your folk music groups, find a group of old-time musicians jamming, and they'll probably know where one is. Essentially. So first off, I'm going to start listing off some halls in New Hampshire that I know of and that I've personally been to. So first off, we have Nelson, New Hampshire. If you've heard anything about the contra dance scene in New Hampshire, you know about Nelson. Even if you're not from New Hampshire, you probably know where Nelson is. It has been mentioned that Nelson is the contra dance capital, which I'm not entirely sure if that's true, but either way, let me tell you a little bit about Nelson. Nelson, New Hampshire's hall is a very old hall that has been used for dancing for at least probably 125 years. I do not have the specs on that currently. I'll be making another video outside of Porch Ramblings about traditional New England dance halls and about those halls more in depth. But for right now, that's a rough estimate. This hall has been used for dances for a long time, and it's kind of become the center or the definite travel destination for anybody wanting to experience New England contra dancing, which I do think it tends to be a little bit more of a modern contra dance as opposed to anything else. So I just think it's important for you to realize that before you go. Nelson is what I would consider a little bit more advanced, even though everybody there is super friendly, and I did go there when I was a beginner. I would recommend it after you kind of get your feet under you in general with contra dancing. It's located in Nelson, New Hampshire, right in the town square. Lovely little hall. The floor is really nice. It has great acoustics, great people, great dancers. So I just think that when we're talking about Nelson, you can't help but think of Chorus Jig. Chorus Jig is a contra dance, a proper contra dance that has been done in the Nelson Town Hall for a while, and it's kind of their dance, their signature dance. They do it every single Monday night, which currently that dance is running every Monday night, and you can always check up on the checkbraveplace.com calendar for any updates on that, or if it gets canceled or whatever for town elections, because they still use their town hall for things other than dances, of course. It is an older hall. It has a great feel and great acoustics, and I think it has a great floor. Plus they let you wear your tap shoes there, which I personally like because I sometimes like to wear tap shoes out contra dancing to really bring out the old clogging feel. Next, we have Peterborough. Peterborough is a cool hall. Peterborough Townhouse is located right kind of in the center of Peterborough, and it is a fantastic hall with great lighting. It's a very large floor, and it has an octagon flooring pattern, which I think is really cool. All the dances I've been to there have been thoroughly modern, even I would argue it's one of the most modern contra dance scenes in New England at the moment, but other than Boston. But the next hall that we're going to talk about is probably one of my personal favorites, and that is the Tamworth Townhouse. And I just think that it is a super nice little hall, really old-timey feel to it. The acoustics in there are great. You can hear it as you're walking into the door because the windows are open. It's really a magical place. And for dances there, they're usually every second Saturday of the month. But again, like I said, go ahead and check Brave Place's calendar on checkbraveplace.com for more information on that. And it's just a really warm, inviting hall, I think, and it's got great acoustics. They only allow soft-soled shoes there, so just be aware of that. Don't bring your tap shoes. Next, we're going to talk about Plymouth. Plymouth is a cool square dance. It's not really a traditional New England contra dance in the real sense of that, but it is a square dance. David Millstone currently calls that one usually, and it's a really great young atmosphere because we get a lot of the college students from Plymouth State, and So I just think that it is a really nice place to go if you're trying to dabble in like the old-fashioned singing square dances. There's a lot of sit-in opportunities. Actually, Tamworth and Nelson and Plymouth allow sit-ins, and I will continue to mention that if they allow sit-ins if you're a musician. So I'm not just here for the dancers, I'm here for the musicians as well. All right, next we have Canterbury. Now, those of you who have been dancing for any length of time know that when we're talking about contra dancing, we can't help but mention Canterbury, home of Dudley Loftman. So Canterbury Parish Hall and Wyndon Timothy, which is Dudley Loftman's home, are home to sporadic dances that are more old-fashioned in their tone, more family dances, so if you have kids, these are really great ones to bring them out to. Also, Canterbury, I believe, has a regular second Sunday dance, so keep an eye out for that on my dance calendar. And you know, it does happen, so just keep an eye on the calendar, because not everything I say will be up to date in, say, like 6 months. All right, Milford. I've been there once. It is up 2 flights of stairs, but it's a beautiful hall all the same. Parking's kind of interesting, but that's all right, you'll manage. And it's got great acoustics, great lighting, a great floor, and great musicians. So that's what I can say about that one. I've only been once, but when I was there, it was pretty good. Newfields is a good dance. Newfields is definitely more modern in its feel, but it's really I like it. It's a nice hall. If you're a musician, there are some steep steps up onto the stage that you have to watch out for, but other than that, it's a nice hall. It's a little bit smaller, but it's great. Dover. I've not been to Dover, but everything I've heard says it's a good dance. And also there's an East Derry dance, but I think that's off for the summer, as well as Dover, but don't quote me on that. Go look at the calendar. And that's just really a short list of the places you can go contra dancing, because you know, there's also opportunities for English country dancing in New Hampshire, as well as a couple of things that I'm not real knowledgeable about, so I'm not going to cover them, but they are out there, so just keep an eye on it. So there's also a ton more dances in Vermont and Maine, Massachusetts as well, in Connecticut, all over the country essentially. Again, just look at your local classifieds and look up contra dances near me and sort of feel out where you belong, and you'll find a community. All right, so now that we've talked about where to go, it's more of like, what should I do? What should I prepare for? What should I bring? What do I do? It's really not that hard. First off, bring a water bottle. This is low impact exercise, but you will use energy and you will get dehydrated if you don't have a water bottle. Most places have water, but don't rely on that. What I like to do is fill up my water bottle and then add lemon and a squirt of strawberry syrup stuff, but that's what I like to do. So I just think it's a good thing to bring a water bottle with you to keep yourself hydrated and cool and keep yourself comfortable, and don't pass out on the dance floor, because nobody wants it to happen. All right, so again, I also have to cover shoes. This isn't as easy as you would think it would be. You can come in anything. People dance in sneakers, people dance barefoot, people dance with dance shoes, people dance with jazz shoes, people dance with hard-soled dress shoes, people dance with boots. I mean, it really depends on what you're comfortable dancing in. There's one fellow in particular I can think of that sometimes does the waltzes and roller skates, but you know, it's pretty much whatever you feel comfortable in. So, but for beginners, like I'm addressing to my viewers here who are wanting to get into this, I would recommend either slippery soled sneakers that if you spin on a wood floor, you're not feeling too much resistance, because that's going to allow you to be able to move better and not worry about sticking to the floor while you're trying to learn how to swing, which is not a pleasant feeling. So, but sneakers work fine if you're just starting out. I would think about investing in some like leather soled shoes later on, but for now, don't worry about it. It's pretty much good. You can even dance barefoot if you want, if that's your jam. All right, clothes. I just want to talk briefly about clothes because it's just some observations that I've had. I recommend dressing up a little bit, just a little, because if you're going to a dance, why not make it an outing and dress up a little bit and make yourself feel nice? So essentially what you're going to want to wear is stuff that's breathable, essentially, especially in the summertime like it is now, because otherwise you are going to be dying of heat, and we don't need anybody passing out because of heat stroke. That's essentially the beginning and end of that. However, I would also recommend, and this is mostly my personal recommendation, if you're gonna come to a dance where people are gonna be touching you, please keep your skin covered. There have been some people who come to dances in stuff that doesn't cover their entire back, and it can be really awkward to touch them because you get sweaty, and nobody wants to be touching that. So I would recommend just wearing clothes that cover most of your skin and are breathable and light and fabulous, and you'll be fine. That's essentially what I want to cover for clothes. But like I said, just dress up a little bit, you know, dress, skirt, nice pants, button up, button down shirt, any of that really, because it just makes the atmosphere so much better, I believe. So, but it's cool. Nobody particularly cares what you wear, but like I said, it's going to be more comfortable for you and the people that you're dancing with if your skin is covered and you're not touching people's sweaty skin. So now, some advice. Generic advice includes just don't stand on the sidelines. Standing on the sidelines is probably the worst thing you're going to do for yourself, because if you're going to be like, oh no, I'm just going to watch, I can't go out there, I don't know what I'm doing. No, you need to get out there. You need to get out there and do this, because if you don't get out there and do this, you're never going to do it. The way you get better at dancing is by putting yourself out there and letting yourself experience it, mess up and all. Train wrecking your set, it happens. Nobody worries about it. Everybody's cool with it. All right, everybody was new at some point. Everybody messed up. Everybody, accidentally stepped on somebody's toe along the way. We've all been there. So don't worry about it per se. Just be aware of it. And also just be aware that pretty much anybody that you talk to that's an experienced dancer is going to really like talking to you about it, and it's going to really want to help show you what this is all about. So don't be afraid to go up to people and be like, hey, I'm new. Do you know about dances? Have you been to dances? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. That's totally okay. And even if you're standing on the sidelines, you typically will have a couple people come over to you and be like, oh, are you new? Would you like me to show you a few things? Because that's what happened to me. And honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because I had a bad tendency to stand on the sidelines. So all in all, I would not recommend doing that, and just allow yourself to participate in it fully. All right. So what we're also going to do is we're just going to briefly talk about a synopsis. Basically, get out there, go to a dance, find your local dance online, and let's just keep options open about our clothing, because again, like I said, sweaty skin is not pleasant to touch. So, clothes are good. Shoes, like I said, are personal preference, barefoot, jazz shoes, etc., etc., etc. But like I said, I personally like dancing in slippery soled boots, sort of, because that's the look I go for. I typically tend to dress like an Edwardian that popped out of an 1890s Anne of Green Gables novel, but that's me. You don't have to do that. I just like it because it makes me happy. So all in all, don't be nervous. You'll be fine. It really isn't that complicated. Once you get out there, you'll learn a lot more of this. And like I said, for the musicians watching this, most of these dances allow sit-ins, but just write in ahead of time and ask the dance coordinators if it's okay, because sometimes they might have hired bands that may not want sit-ins. So just make sure that everybody's super nice about it. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. All right, so that's all for today. That's all for this Porch Ramblings video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, because otherwise other people don't see my videos and we can't bring more people into this. And I would love to see more people out at dances, even as I go on in learning more about the history and music and dance of New England, as well as New England culture. So make sure to like and subscribe and share to your friends, and just let them know that, hey, she's doing something over here. I would appreciate it. All right, well, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Porch Rambling episode. Goodbye.